Why you retiring?
What changed? What made you?
This shit is trash, garbage.
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
I'm out of it.
Gervonta, something should have happened throughout this time.
Gervonta Tank Davis, 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 28 wins by way of knockout. 30 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 28 wins by way of knockout, has officially announced his retirement, right? He told the people around him that he is retiring from the sport of boxing.
Now, Kenny Ellis, he was like, I don't know when the next time Tank is going to fight. I don't know if the Lamont Roach Jr. fight is still on.
The headline hit like a body shot. Gervonta Tank. Davis is walking away. Minutes later, a voice from inside his own corner fires back with 2 words. Fake news. 2 versions of the same story can't both be right, unless you understand how boxing actually works. This isn't just a yes or no about retirement. It's a window into pressure, power, and the price of being the most watched name in a sport that feeds on chaos. Before we pick a side, let's follow the trail most fans miss. The rumor didn't drift in quietly. It barreled through social feeds, attached to a name insiders recognize and fans love to argue with. Retirement posts spiked, reaction videos multiplied, and timelines split into camps. He's done. Versus. He'll be back by the fall. Then Kenny Ellis, Tank's coach, stepped up and dismissed it as fake news. That wasn't a soft correction. It was a hard slap to a viral moment. When a story spreads this fast and a coach swats it down that quickly, it tells you 2 things. First, the camp knows exactly what panic looks like in the marketplace. Second, someone's protecting leverage before numbers and names get locked in. That's not a conspiracy. It's what pros do when a rumor runs hotter than the contracts behind it.
Gervonta Tank Davis is not happy. He was told he was going to get a massive 7-fight, $240+ million deal from Amazon. That was not true. And/or Amazon just pulled out, right? Also, the money is not there for the guaranteed purses he was accustomed to receiving in the past when PBC was with Showtime. Showtime got out the business of the sport of boxing after 37 years. They are with Amazon. They do not have a budget. So the format in which he's accustomed to has changed drastically.
Here's the part that stings fans who want a simple answer. Tank himself has said the fame machine twists every word. He's talked openly about wanting therapy, about being a softer dad, about stepping away from the anger that once fueled the way he fights. When a fighter says, I can't even be myself anymore, retirement doesn't sound dramatic. It sounds like relief. That doesn't prove he's done, but it explains why the rumor found oxygen. If you've watched enough careers burn out on the walk back to the locker room, you know the spotlight is its own opponent. And when the opponent never sleeps, even champions start wanting silence. Everything feels louder after a controversial result. The Roach fight ended in a majority draw, and the moment that lives rent-free is the knockdown that wasn't counted. 1 decision, 1 round swing, and you're arguing about what the scorecards should have been instead of what they were. Roach's side pushed back, the commission held firm, and the sport did what it always does, promise a rematch and then play calendar Jenga. That matters today because a rematch can be both duty and danger. Duty because unfinished business stains legacies. Danger because the risk to reward math isn't always friendly. If the public thinks you owe a rematch, any detour looks suspicious. But if your team thinks the rematch makes bad sense, any exit, temporary or not, starts to look like strategy. Training camp can't outrun real life. In mid-July, headlines shifted from mitt work to a police blotter. An arrest, a bond, a court date on the horizon. Stories like this don't just bruise reputations, they drain attention. Focus is a currency in this sport, and legal trouble spends it faster than sparring ever could. Even if a case ends quietly, the weeks in between pull at everything. Coaches juggle schedules, managers dodge calls, reporters circle, and a fighter, any fighter, has to decide where the energy goes. Into arguments in court, or into rounds in the gym. Fans say, just fight. But life doesn't care about your undercard slot. When a man says he wants therapy because anger created more problems than it solved, that's not a brand play. That's survival. This is where the conversation gets uncomfortable. Streaming changed the math. You don't just fight for belts, you fight for platforms. A Netflix rumor here, a Prime Video replay there, and suddenly retirement can sound a lot like, call my agent back with a better offer. I'm not saying a press post equals a negotiation tactic every time. I am saying the sport has taught fighters that exits create scarcity, and scarcity sells better than availability. If there's a monstrous crossover check on one side and a complicated rematch on the other, you don't need to be a cynic to see why people start talking about walking away. Temporary silence increases price. Mixed signals increase options. That's not villainous. It's how modern prize fighting works. So why smash the rumor with a single line? Because the market punishes uncertainty. Sponsors get nervous. Broadcasters stall. Opponents pivot. Her usual fake news doesn't just clap back at a tweet. It steadies the phone calls that actually keep a career alive. It tells the world, keep your calendar open, keep your bids warm, keep your cameras ready. It also tells the locker room something just as important. Nobody panics. The coach's job isn't to feed the internet. It's to keep the machine from choking while the team decides what it wants to do next. If denial sounds blunt, that's because clarity is a currency too. The sport has a long memory of legends who promised a goodbye and found a better hello. Some pauses were about health, some about money, some about both. Fans call it theater, promoters call it oxygen. A fake farewell turns into a bigger return. And the same crowd that swore they were done buying tickets turns up early for the weigh-in. That's not hypocrisy. That's the psychology of missing something you didn't know you loved until it left. Tank isn't the first to touch the exit sign and pull his hand back. If you've watched this business for more than a season, you know the script. Denial here, rumor there, a handshake in the middle, then the ring walk you claimed you wouldn't watch. The question isn't whether the pattern exists. The question is whether this moment fits it. Door 1, the clean exit. He takes the time, chooses therapy, leans into fatherhood, and only looks back when the noise finally stops. It would be rare, and it would be brave, and a lot of people who say they love fighters would have to prove it by letting him go. Door 2, the short pause. Life first, camp later, the rematch clock starts again, and the story flips from controversy to closure. It's the neatest arc and the surest way to shut up the scorecard debates. Door 3, the pivot. A one-off spectacle with monster reach and even bigger pay. Something built for a streaming moment, not just a ranking. Think less mandatory challenger, more main character energy. If you're asking which door the business wants, you already know the answer. If you're asking which door the man picks, that's why the room is quiet right now. The human toll never trends as hard as the cliffs. A fighter grows up in a world where toughness is currency and pain is private. Then a daughter asks a simple question, or a therapist introduces a new word, or a judge's calendar replaces the gym's whiteboard. You can't jab your way out of that. When Tank talked about being tired of anger and ready for change, some people rolled their eyes and called it PR. Others heard a man trying to unlearn what made him unbeatable. Both can be true at the same time. The pain is real, and the optics matter. If you've never had to carry both, be grateful. If you have, you understand why rumors of retirement hit a nerve. They promise peace. Even if it's a peace he can only afford for a season, it's still a promise. You don't need sources to read the next few days. Watch for small tells. If team messages go quiet, if the gym stays closed to familiar faces, if the schedule mysteriously moves right, that says one thing. If sparring partners keep cycling through, if conditioning logs stack up, if no comment slowly morphs into no problem, that says another. Don't let posts with the perfect font convince you they're facts. In this sport, behavior is the only reliable leak. Follow the work. It never lies. If he walks, hold two competing truths without tearing yourself apart. First, the sport loses a lightning bolt who made main events feel like holidays. Second, a man wins a fight that doesn't come with a belt. One where peace matters more than applause. Some fans demand he fight through it. Others say step away. The only opinion that counts belongs to the person who has to climb the stairs and touch the ropes. If the gloves never go on again, let the last word be gratitude. Most of us will never know what it costs to be watched by millions and still be alone at the end of the night. So, did Tank retire or not? The truth is less dramatic and more revealing. A rumor got loud because it was believable. A coach said fake because uncertainty is expensive. In between those posts lives a fighter who's been honest about being tired of the world that made him famous. My call is simple. This feels like a pause, not a period. He'll decide when the room is quiet, when the numbers make sense, and when the story gives him back the part of himself he said the spotlight stole. Until then, remember the rule that never fails. Watch the work, not the whispers.